Welcome back to the 7 steps of reloading. Today, step number 4. We're going to start trimming our cases to get the overall case length correct, and we're going to use the Girod trimmer to do so. We find the Girod trimmer to be the finest trimmer available. Let's get to the close-ups, because this is going to be a good episode. So, why is trimming necessary? As we mentioned in the previous video, resizing, brass moves when it's resized, and can only move towards the case mouth, thus getting longer. And that extra length needs to be trimmed away. Trimming is not just a good idea. It sets one of the major factors in accuracy, neck length. Neck length defines the consistency of neck tension when using bushing dies, and the effects of crimp during the seating process when using standard dies. Which means we need to trim the brass so that they are all the same length, because it's that length that will set the amount of crimp. Short cases will get no crimp, or bullets that could walk out under recoil or get pushed into the case when loading from the magazine. Longer cases will get too much crimp, which could deform the bullet and cause accuracy problems or worse, safety concerns. It's inarguable that improper crimp causes inconsistent ammunition. There are many ways to trim your cases. Some slower ways that are cost-effective and can produce fine results, and some faster, more expensive, that produce the same or even better results. Let's look at a few and talk about why we'd use one over the others. The low-end old-school way. The Lee Case Trimmer. This runs about $7 for a gauge and a shell holder, and another $8 to $10 for the cutter. It hooks up to a cordless drill and works very well. It's very affordable, surprisingly accurate. It's easy to use, and they just never seem to wear out. We find variations in overall length to the tune of plus or minus 1/1000th of an inch, which is fine for even the more picky long-range loads. No setup time to worry about, and each caliber has its own gauge, so it's hard to make an inadvertent mistake. I've used these things for decades, and still turn to them for low-volume work when I need accuracy and simplicity. For instance, I don't load so much 30-06 that I feel I need a dedicated adjustment on the Girod trimmer to get superb results for my hunting rifle. A mid-tier level trimmer is the Frankford Arsenal Case Prep and Trim Center. This runs about $200 at the time of this video. These things are a bit fiddly to get adjusted perfectly, but once you're dialed in, you can crank through enough brass to cramp your hands for a week. This Case Prep Center is really intended for use only with shoulder cases where overall accuracy is not the primary concern. We find variations in overall length to the tune of 0.003 to be common with the 223, maybe a little less with larger cases. It's less accurate than we want for precision rounds, but good enough for blown up fruits and vegetables or any application that calls for suppressing fire. We had 3 of these beasties at one time. We now have just one, and we use it as a power head for cutting away the military crimp on primer pockets, for deburring and chamfering small batches, and things of that nature. We do not use it as a trimmer. It's just a power head for us. We found ourselves using either the Lee Case Trimmer or the Girod, making this particular bit of kit nearly obsolete. The best part about the FA machine is that you can adjust it for nearly any cartridge. As a note, we tried it for 300 Blackout, and that little bitty shoulder is just too small to work well in the FA system. Another mid-tier level are the lathe-style trimmers. Everybody makes one, RCBS, Sinclair, Wilson. All of them are hand-cranked or run off of a cordless drill. Some even have dedicated motors. They all work by setting the distance between the cutter and the case head. These are simple, really, and they do well. They're fiddly gizmos that are fun mechanical contraptions, and a lot of brass can be processed on them if you use them properly. They run anywhere from $150 to $500, making them a rather spendy for fiddly, but they are decent. We find overall case length variations are in the order of 2 to 0.003. We tried one decades ago, didn't like it, never went back. The top price mid-tier in this column is the Hornady Lock and Load Case Prep Center at $719 currently. This is the most expensive mid-tier trim system we know of. We don't own one. We've never used it. We can't speak for its accuracy. If you see one in a store, you'll realize just how huge it really is, and it's heavy. It's a dual case trim center that will likely be handed down to the next generation. In the top tier level, we have the Henderson Gen 3 case trimmer. It comes in as a top tier trimmer for $439, including one caliber. It trims, chamfers, and deburs all in one step. There's a potential for less work for your fingers because the case is clamped in the handle during trimming. We've never had the pleasure of using one. Let us know in the comments if you have and what you think of it. We chose the Girard over the Henderson because the Henderson does not capture the brass trimmings, and it's a bit louder to our ears. Another top-tier level, the Girard. This we do own. We use it for precision work, long-range cartridges, and seriously high-volume stuff like the 223. Typical variations are less than 1/1000th of an inch. It's fast, it's accurate, and it's precise. We feel there is no better trimmer available today. It starts at $550 for one caliber. Calibers are fairly easy to change, and the settings are retained. It can do straight wall cases as well as shouldered. This system is peerless. It's fast, accurate, and requires far less effort than any other method we've experienced. Nearly every other option on the market uses a pilot spud to orient the case during trimming. We just spent all that time and energy getting our case necks as perfect as we can get them. Why would we want to spin a pilot in the case neck now? We can unequivocally recommend the Girard. So what do you look for in a trimmer? Look for simplicity. With simplicity comes efficiency, both in time and money. Simple trimmers take less time setting up and can produce excellent results. There's less to break and less to go wrong. Look for consistency. Any trimmer can do the job if you have low enough expectations. Shooting 8-inch plates at 300 yards with an AR-15, you don't need the most accurate trimmer, but you might, just might, need the speed of a more dedicated machine. And we want to look for efficiency. How much is your time worth? How much can you afford to spend to save some of that time? Do you need 0.5,000th accuracy? Just because it's expensive doesn't mean it'll make your ammo better. Your success criterion. Regardless of which system you choose, your success criterion at this step remains the same. Cases that are uniform in length, have a precise chamfer inside the case mouth, and are cleanly deburred externally. Choose a system that preserves the quality of your case's neck, which is critical to performance and accuracy. So now we know when and why trimming needs to be done. We know it impacts the safety, accuracy, and quality of our ammunition. The trimming step is a great chance to inspect the case mouth, because that's where we've been working. Any chance to inspect is a good time to do so. Look for chips in the case mouth edge. Look for cracks in the case neck, lines or deep scratches across the shoulder, any pocketing in the shoulders, or dents in the case wall. Feel the case mouth and let your fingers tell you if something isn't right. Remember, we look for reasons to discard cases rather than justifications and reasons to keep them. Discard any discrepant cases or set them aside for further investigation at a later time. Congratulations! The tedious part of reloading is now behind you. In the next episode, we'll start assembling our loaded ammunition. See you then. What's step number?